Hello, folks. I know you probably didn't get to listen to actually the new little intro thing, but anyway, welcome back. We make historic Brawl decks, and by we I mean I, for every single legal commander in Baldur's Gate. Today we're doing Ambergris, Citadel Agent. I'll just quickly go over the card. This is the red-black version of this deck. Since it's specialized, it has a bunch more versions than that, but the only two important versions are the default red version and the red-black version, so I'll just go over them quickly. It's 3-drop, 3/2 haste, specialized 3. Whenever it attacks, you can discard your hand and draw 2 cards. That's the base version. Specialized version, 4-drop, 2 red. Haste, whenever it attacks, you can discard your hand and draw 2 cards. When you do, it deals damage to each opponent equal to the amount of cards that you've discarded this turn. You have to choose to activate the trigger, though. So, which brings us into Ambergris, Agent of Tyranny. It's effectively a side grade. We don't use it often when we play this deck. Haste 4/3, black and a red. Whenever Ambergris, Agent of Tyranny attacks, you may discard your hand and draw 2 cards. When you do, target creature an opponent controls gets -X/-X till end of turn, where X is the number of cards you've discarded. So there's not much to say on this deck itself, except that I think I failed to... No, I didn't. This is the right deck list. Okay, cool. So just a word of warning about this deck in these games I'm going to play with it. I am likely to get very salty. I have been grinding this deck for the last few days, and this list that I'm posting is a slightly tweaked list that is on paper, it's better. So I guess I'll explain this while we're waiting. Basically, when I first made this deck, I had the incredible design process of just take everything that lets you discard cards, shove it into a deck as a joke, and then I'd go make a proper deck later. And then to my complete surprise, the deck actually started winning, and it kept winning. So the end result is that this deck tends to get paired. Anyway, what I'm basically saying is, and normally I would not make this claim for anything I make, but I think that this deck has single-handedly warped I played this opening wrong. The matchup for playing this. I think that I mentioned this to a friend. He said that this deck's archetype is Wheel of Fortune. Is called Wheel of Fortune, at least. Our goal is very simple. We are going to play as just pretty much as many cards as we feasibly can. I want to get rid of Chandra's Regulator. I should probably cut that from this deck. We're just going to try to blow up our opponent as fast as possible. In any situation where we can discard cards to get an advantage, even if it's very minimal, we will take it every single time. Any situation where we can hit our opponent for extra damage, we will take it every single time. There are no breaks, and we are just going to go straight for face. That one we're not going to discard because right now we still have 3 drops. But he'll probably double block Amber. No, he's not going to double block. He's going to block the 2-drop. But the end result of all of this, anyway, is that a deck that I threw together very quickly gets put into far more aggressive matchups than I think is necessarily fair. This is an uncommon commander, and I get matched into Miriam with a depressing level of regularity. We're going to specialize into red. We're going to throw away Inferno the Star Mount because everything's about to get thrown away in just a second anyway. Okay, cool. So we got Banefire, which is actually one of the tweaks I made to this deck was adding Banefire. This is whenever each person sacrifices a creature, right? Yeah. I had a friend who made this deck. I'm not going to say it's a deck for... The short version is that this deck is fun. This deck is actually quite good in certain situations. You'll notice that I misplayed because of how I did this. It even actually has a couple OTKs that it can set up and hit for like 18 damage in one turn. The trade-off for all of this is it does so by not being a particularly stable or consistent list. Actually, that's not true. The trade-off is that it either crushes the opponent or it just gets absolutely hammered in 2 seconds. Like, there is no in between. I have no reason to not pay that mana, I don't think. Avoid giving him more cards. Waking the Blood Avatar is 8-drop, right? Yeah, I don't give a shit. Anyway, I have tried tuning this deck, and the thing is that the end result is that the win rate has never been as high as it was at the very start. We'll see what I get matched into tonight, and the stream will only probably... So here's the thing, I have another friend I want to play Multiversus with. So the stream will only go as long as... Yep, there's that. Yes, I will. No, I won't. Let's play that and that. So you can see how the deck would usually go, that you might specialize into other colors at certain points. He can hit me for another 6. Interesting. I didn't realize this thing's just called Avatar. But yeah, so I'm not optimistic about being able to actually show any wins with this deck. Mostly because I have played it so much that I think that the matchmaking algorithm now thinks that it's a fair matchup to throw me against things like this, when it's not particularly. I will decline. If he removes this in response. He'll deal 4 to me next turn. That's game. So, unlike most of these where I play and try to like show off the deck, I'm probably just going to play this deck until I get a win with it. I will say, of every single deck I've ever made, nothing comes close to punishing. If you want to punish people who play slow Miriam decks, or punish people who are like, it's okay, I'm not going to do anything till turn 5, but then I'm going to play rare bombs that just scale every single turn. Hands down, best deck I've ever made for that. The downside is that if your opponent has even just like a smidgen of brain power, that's not true. You'll beat somebody with this deck, and then if they were smart enough to include things like 1-drops and 2-drops in their deck prior to facing you the first time, they will just mulligan into the cards they need to stall. It's kind of a one-trick pony, but it's still just so fun and so stupid. You could also probably, so like for other improvements on this deck, one of the issues is that if you look at the land base, you'll see that the land base is kind of crappy. It's mostly just basic mountains and plains. Ooh, Gadwick. It's going to be a control list. Let's see. We have a 2-drop. We don't have our 1-drop. So I will try to pilot this a little bit better this time, which means mulliganing a bunch. Yeah, keep 6. I'm going to make a really dumb decision. Let's do that. This is probably control. Oops. Gotta play those lands first. Wow, I'm not here today. Discard a card. Absolutely. Give me a different 2-drop. Croxa is one of the deck's bombs because obviously you can just keep casting him from the graveyard, and obviously you're never going to run out of cards to cast him from the graveyard with. Let's blitz in Jaxus. So this is probably Gadwick control. And given that he was smart enough to actually play early drops, probably won't go well for us. So you'll see that I made a mistake here in trying to just mulligan down and keeping 2 lands and tossing a 3rd land back. Because if we don't top deck a land, we're pretty hosed here. Who do I go grab? Let's go grab Obsessive Astronomer. Let's see if he counters it. Yep. Okay, so he does recognize what the deck is supposed to do, and he's going to play against it properly. Who runs Fabled Passage in a monocolored deck just for thinning? That seems like such a risky play. Anyway, so I've made like 2 versions of this list. There's the OG version that I thought was worse, and then there's a tuned version that has more cards with stuff like Madness and things like that to try to take advantage of the discard. But that doesn't actually mean you win more, in my experience. Okay, there's our... what do we play here? What do we do here? Probably this. Yeah, probably just this. Yeah. I don't think he'll block. Based on how much land he leaves open, or if he plays stuff to try to keep my stuff tapped down, will determine if we specialize or if we go for Kroxa. Guardian Idol enters tapped, but he's left 3 untapped, so he can counterspell, which means we're going to do the thing where we make him annoyed. We're going to specialize into black here, actually. Let's see what level of control he's actually running. Because the thing is, he already played Disallow. There's one more... No, technically there's like 2 more spells that actually let him... He's going to do it now. So the downside to specializing into the black version is that obviously we can't get the big combos off anymore, which is always a bummer. Let's do this. I'll be interested to see if he's actually going to counterspell Strike it Rich. Not sure that was worth it for you, buddy. I will just play Strike it Rich again next turn. Okay, I don't want to give him any triggers, so we're just going to go straight to combat. Ooh, Torrential Gearhulk. Let's see. That does mean he is out of... Ready and willing, so make me a villain. I'll leave it the way it is right now, and I will... So I was going to set up to play Kroxa next turn, but I think we're going to set up for Inferno to Star Mountain instead. Oh, he's going to destroy the treasure? No. Is he going to go on the counter-offensive? He is. That's the right choice in like 90% of scenarios. Unfortunately, this is not the 90%. I'm going to take a risk here, which is I don't think that you have... I think I probably still lose this one. So the right call for anybody keeping score at home is I should have unspecialized Ambergris when I played it, but that's still just a 4-5. So he'll probably swing with everything else. Yep. Next turn he has lethal if I don't block. I can give him a -2. That's not enough. I could pump that real big. That's not enough either. Four, five, six, seven, eight, nine. That's lethal. So the downside of this deck is that unless you pilot it like an absolute just insane psychopath, if your opponent is just even remotely cautious, it usually doesn't win. The other thing is that like the matchups that you get for who you're playing into, Gadwick is probably fair. But there's a point where I was being paired against Merriam players, and it's just like, really? I don't know. The thing that bums me out about this deck is that probably that like it's a really cool deck. It actually works really well, but that's very unlikely that we're actually going to get even a single game that shows that off. Simply because of the fact that so I've actually noticed a couple interesting things. And for anybody going, oh well, you're just being paranoid. A while back, somebody on the MTG Brawl subreddit was like, oh, what's people's experiences with playing Artisan? Which, if you're not familiar with, Artisan means just commons and uncommons. So I made a deck that I've actually been tuning and playing, and it's probably going to be maybe this Friday's video. I might do it as like a, if I get, speaking of which, don't forget to lick the scrib. I might do it as like a 20 sub thing or something. Is kind of what I'm thinking at the moment. Let's keep this. Oh, first sliver. I want to get absolutely butchered. Anyway, I made a artisan deck, which is just all commons and uncommons, right? For one of the newer ones. And what I've discovered is that if you do that, you either nobody else plays artisan, or you will always, always, always get matched into people who are playing different, more aggressive decks. There is no... I know that Arena likes to say that they balance across things like that. I don't think they do. I've played at least a dozen to 2 dozen games with this deck. I have seen maybe one deck that had anything that was even close to like being semi-artisan, right? A single deck. Let's go on the offensive. Decline. So I quite honestly don't believe them when they say that part of the matching works like that. You get matched into people who are playing like full mythic decks. You get matched to people who are playing full non-mythic decks. It does not make a difference. Let's have 2 swamps in case we get Croxa at some point. And we're going to go grab red. Discard a mountain. We'll discard Galvanic Punch. It's Punchalicious. Next to combat, all attacks. Take action. Next to blockers. So as you can see, this time is actually playing out a little bit closer to how we'd like it. Next turn is going to be the deciding factor. He's going to have 9 life. He's going to play the first sliver and get the Cascade out, which I think means we're going to be like 2 cards off what we need. Actually, but he won't have all his blockers yet, will he? Oh, unless, never mind. Yeah. Move to the command zone. Yes, I will. Decline. This looks like it's good stuff slivers, probably. Let's do this. Probably should have waited till next turn to do that, but eh. I think that's probably game. Mostly because of Clothis. If he didn't have Clothis, there'd be a chance that we could set up and stall out, but double strike, that will mean he can now hit for 14. I don't block. And Bone Scythe is going to be... A lot of people have been using that card more recently. The, what is it? Distant Melody, the one with the text about Una. Let's do this. I'm thinking about making a video just called, like, Know Your Enemy. Just about... Actually, should I play this one instead? 7 or more cards in your graveyard. Yep. Okay, we'll do this instead. This game's kind of already over. Blazing Rootwalla is probably one of the few cards that I'm like, yes, that definitely needs to be in this deck. See, here's another card that everybody plays. What set is that even from? That's one of the historic anthologies, right? We get a new historic anthology tomorrow. I might do a stream on that. There's a lot of little fun things to do a stream on. Oh, look, it's Thoughtseize. Anyway, if you want a fun commander, I encourage you to either take this list or just ignore my list. Just try something or built around this, right? I feel like a little bit of tuning, you could make this a lot more powerful. Oh my god. But like, take from it what you will that I'm getting matched, that I made this deck, and it's getting matched into things like First Sliver, right? That's what they're like, yes, this is a fair balanced matchup. Your uncommon commander should get matched into the craft-only mythic against the person who, you know, is running multiple mythics. I'm just going to take the damage here and let this game end. Do I still have a chance? Actually, you know what? Because we're streaming, I will play out my last turn, even though it's going to take longer. I think there's a lot of room for improvement in this deck. But again, like, you're not going to win with a T2 deck into... Oh, don't oops me. I play First Sliver. Oops. That's a graphical bug. But yeah, I was thinking about making a deck about how to play against First Sliver. And like, not a deck, a video about how to play against First Sliver and stuff like that. We're going to go till we get 1 win. We could be here for a while. Actually, did someone concede earlier? I think they might have. Nope. 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 Keep. Oh, I gotta return 2 anyway. Probably these 2, I think. Old Rutstein. Let's see if my opponent is what we call competent. Because if they are, that's what's known as bad for me. Thrill of Possibility. Actually, no, we should be playing Fissure Wizard. Discard Yadaro. 1 more cards. Really hoping that we get a 3-drop. And by 3-drop, I mean a land next turn. I'm sorry, gods, if you misheard me. Or God. Or just whatever algorithmic programs is the end of this machine. Okay, good. Thank you for listening actively. So this looks like it's standard. This looks like Reanimator. Yep, this is definitely Reanimator. That could go pretty badly. So he's going to give up Circle Land Druid into Fissure Wizard, right? And then... No, he already burned Unspeakable Bond. So maybe it's not expensive Reanimator. Ooh, he's just body blocking. If he's just gonna body block, why didn't you block the 3-drop? Or the one that's gonna hit you for 3? No, wait, he did. I just confused my toggles. The annoying thing about this deck is it can be just so cool when it pops off, but if it's matched against like fairly not middle of the pack people who are like I'm going to play removal and things like that, it's not going to pop off. It's that simple. I might specialize into black this game, if only because it will let me actually play Hellmongrel. No, it won't. What am I saying? This is another one that I've been optimistic about. I added to the deck. I thought it would be very good. Hasn't actually come in clutch yet. I guess it can't hurt to try a new strategy. If I specialize into black, I will be able to give him -3/-3. Yeah, let's do it. So the big OTK combo with this deck is you get to the point that you have the red specialization out, decline. Let's see what he blocks. That's probably going to determine if I play another land. You get the big combo out, you get Bag of Holding, you sack Bag of Holding on their turn and then swing in with the red, and you can just blow them up for however many cards you have in your hand in one fell swoop. This way we actually have access to Pirate's Pillage if we need it. Downside is that he can just go dig for his artifact removal. Actually, more likely he'll just throw everything into the graveyard until he finds Shellowdrod, if this is a standard reanimator. I wonder if old Rutstein has any lore. Ooh, he's got Forerunners. Maybe it's not Reanimator. Maybe it's just self-mill. Kind of hard to tell. I assumed he was digging for the artifact removal, but he hasn't found it yet. Okay, so maybe he's digging for Shellowdrod instead. That's probably the right move. Though I do have spells in my deck that deal direct damage, so bring yourself down to 5. Maybe he's looking for removal? He's not finding it? Maybe he's giving me the win out of pity. Maybe he just needed more cards in the graveyard. Lots of options, honestly. Yep, that's fine. That's fine. We have a path to victory now. We have a fairly. Oh no, we don't. Do we? Move to the command zone. Take action. Remove all. Yeah, because I'm not going to be able to replay this anytime soon unless I do that. All right, just need one damage to close this one out. Downside is we don't have that anywhere, even in these. All right, Pirate's Pillage. There we go. So now I have it in 2 turns, I think. That's lifelink. 6, 7, 8. I think I get like 1 more turn. We'll see. 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh, am I gonna be 5, 6, 7, 8? It's okay. I can keep digging. Wait, hold up. 5, 6, 7, 8. That's lethal. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Activate ability. Specialize into red. Woo! Was it the best win? No. Was it a glorious win? Also no. Does it still fucking count? Yes, it does. Sacrifice 1 or more, deals 2 damage, triggers only once each turn. We don't want our spell triggers only once each turn. Otherwise known as that we don't want this card to actually do anything cool. Conditional. So let me. That's the wrong tier list. Let's transition over to our current tier list. Turn off studio mode. And very quickly, I just need to add my image of this person. Create new. Amber. Browse. realize that the directory where you store all your images and the one where you store everything for your tier list is quite different. Copy a different thing, redirect to that directory, open this. We're going to Citadel Agent of Destruction. Honestly, this is pretty easy. Like, S tier. No, I'm joking. It's a very fun deck, right? But it can't hold its own really if you want to build it properly against top tier stuff. So it has to go in B. If it was able to, like, Lizelle is able to, do its thing, right? Against not every deck, but a fair number of decks. Honestly, I really like playing this list. I'll probably continue to tweak it. I could probably add like the Rakdos Shock or a couple other options and tweak some lands and try to get some other stuff working. And this deck's fun. When it pops off, it's really fun because you can just be like, I'll discard my entire hand and play a billion cards. But it's not consistent enough, or at least I can't play it consistently enough yet for me to be like, yeah, this is an A tier deck. It's probably a top-rate deck being piloted by a third-rate duelist, aka me. So yeah, that's going to be the end of the stream for today. As always, Decklist is in the video description. I usually lead with that in the intro, but I don't think I did today. If you thoughts, comments, feedback, please leave them. Or if you like my stuff, please hit the subscribe button. And we're closing in on 20, which when I get that, I'm going to show off my special artisan deck and maybe do something else unique for that one. But yeah, maybe in the next couple weeks we'll hit 20 subscribers. Man, I watch a lot of VTubers, and for people like that who it's like, oh yeah, like for a lot of people who are actually popular, it seems like you measure your success in like thousands of subscribers, right? And if you're one of the really big ones, you measure it in millions. And then for me, it's like, hey, if I could have like 20 people looking at the stuff I make, even if it's dumb little magic videos, it's like, fuck yeah. But yeah, all right. I'm going to go play some Multiversus now. And thanks for watching, and see you next time. Until then, take care.